Markets are going back up. This is S&P 500 showing you that it's bouncing towards the resistance, and this is a descending broadening wedge, which usually is a bullish pattern. And at the same time, you also get the MACD crossing back to the upside, and then the RSI moving above the 21-day moving average, price breaking the 21-day moving average. Now, if you break this resistance here, stock market is going to continue higher, another 10-20% from here after the break. What does that mean to the crypto market is up? If you are looking for last 1 month, now you know we are green in most of these coins. Now, yes, if you go on hourly, 15 minutes, short term, you may see a lot of coins which are in red. Fine. So unless you are trading on an hourly basis, this is not going to impact you. And if you even have a medium time horizon, say at least 2 to 3 months if you're trading, that would give you an advantage over majority of the market. Now, if you are here as a long-term guy, you are then looking for assets which are slowly moving higher, which has volume, and they are doing fundamentally great. So today, we are going to look through a lot of different stuff which I've read through, and I'm like, okay, this actually shows you a lot of different protocols. Now, it's not just about XRP and Ripple, the company. You are looking for assets, right? You are looking for different projects. Now, when you go through this, they also clearly put this into perspective. So you have a big market, and right now you have markets being guided by central banks, World Bank, with this information. Now understand this is directly from the World Bank, and they are putting this one out. Now we go through the Bank of International Settlements, how this is kind of defined and detailed by Ripple, the company. Then you go look at like all different sorts of research which is popping up in the recent days. So now when you see 30th July, that's like, okay, that's a recent one highlighting how things are going to work. And when we look at these, it kind of gives you that macro perspective. Fine, different central banks with the inflation rate hikes, they are doing a lot of different macro factors that is impacting the market. So when they are going into a liquidity crunch, which we know with the current interest rates, and right now the jobs are doing fine, right? The unemployment rate is like 3, 4, 4.5%, which is okay. But as the tightening continues, you know that the economy is going to get hard hit. Now, at that time is when they are completely going to move into the CBDC environment, because you will see universal basic income, or at least different countries coming out in the name of supporting their citizens. Well, right now you have nations which are going all in on the CBDC era. So they are kind of like, okay, next year we are running CBDCs. Whereas you have others who have entirely different opinion, right? They're like, okay, our public doesn't actually like this. Why? The cash issuance in Japan is so high. The debt to GDP ratio is super high. So if they are moving into a CBDC era and they have to flood more CBDCs or the fiat, digital fiat at that point, that won't work. So they need to keep the system going until that blows out. We know it's going to blow off at one point with 200-240% of debt to that GDP ratio. That's going to blow off. But in general, the market is looking so great if you understand the macroeconomics of this, and you are looking for the CBDCs to come out, the payment assets to kick in, the utility, the bridge aspect of all this is going to work. Now, anyone who don't understand this, look at the customers. What are they really doing? Working capital savings by removing the pre-funded accounts. So nostro accounts are what you're touching on there, and then highlighting the fastest payment settlements. So you are definitely using the on-demand liquidity at these points. It's not just RippleNet as a network reducing your cost. It's using on-demand liquidity to maximize your potential. It's like instant settlements. We all know that. Now, when you look through these customers, and you kind of get a lot of details like, okay, these guys are there and all of them are working and expanding. If you go individually to these companies and see after they went in with this technology company, how broadly they are increasing, how aggressively they are expanding, that gives you the idea of what XRP as an asset means. Now, in the general market, yes, you do see a slowdown, a sideways movement if you are looking for the last couple of weeks. But if you actually focus on the price action, you actually get to see a lot of different scenarios. Now, different coins are breaking higher. We had these breakout calls a couple of days back, right? And now 14 hours back, we were saying this is going to break out. That just broke higher. I highlighted it. Did. Fine. Now, what does that actually mean? If you are in the market, you do have a lot of opportunities if you understand the language of price action. So if you do, then I'm like, okay, fine. The price came back to the moving average, 21-day moving average on a daily, and it happens to be a zone where we had resistance and support before. So if the price is bouncing from there, it is bullish in my opinion. So if we are looking at XRP, this is going to move higher. So let's actually further go into all these price actions. Look at how BTC, Ether and XRP to Ether, XRP to BTC pair, along with the BTC dominance and altcoin market is doing right now. So we have an idea what next couple of weeks or a month looks like. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, in this one, I'm really sincere. Time is running out. You may not actually have a lot of time to buy, accumulate the assets which you want, which you think is having great fundamentals. You may not have a long time. Even just last 1 week, you see a lot of coins slowly bouncing back up. Now, it's not just 7 days which matters. If you go look at last quarter, you are going to see a lot of coins dropping, and some of them have fundamentals and they are at great buying opportunity zone, right? Whereas others have already started moving up in this quarter. Last 30 days, it's a different story. They have moved much higher. But if you're looking at some of these coins, they're showing you they are reversing. So the entire quarter, they're showing it's starting to take off, which kind of lead you to that area where the general market is going to run up. Now, if XRP is breaking higher from here, it's not like 300x we are looking at, it's 30% as an initial move. Now, that's not too big, but it's not too bad. It's again a positive price action. So as you zoom out, you kind of see like, okay, we are breaking to the upside. The indicators gives us the narrative. But at this point, what we have to understand is that XRP, when it actually is breaking higher, you're comparing that with XRP BTC pair, where it's been in a correction after, the first run up. It got a leg higher with the breakout. Yes, we got that. But after that, we came back lower. We tested the moving average. We are slowly bouncing, but we didn't actually get to break this previous resistance. So we do have to break this level. So once we do that, that's when you actually see another big movement. And to get that, yes, of course, it's not only against BTC pair, you'll also have to compare it with the Ether, where Ether is showing like it's gaining the dominance, it is increasing in value. Say you go look at like Ethereum dominance for that matter to understand like, okay, in the general market, as an aspect, it is trending to the upside. So if you are on a macro chart, looking at what it is doing, now you understand like, okay, it went up, it hit a ceiling, but that ceiling is not pushing the price too much lower. It happened to be like a checkmate pattern where you dropped. We agree on that, but that drop was in a pattern, right? And we are reaching the area of that pattern where you may try to break higher. So if this is breaking higher, that's again a descending broadening wedge for Ether, which can be bullish. So another 50% from here in the dominance rate cannot be neglected. So what does that actually mean for the entire altcoin market space? we are going higher. There is no doubt in that. If you look at these base, you do definitely understand, like we had a couple of tests at this level, we are going back up. Now we are putting a zone of support resistance. You kind of get that idea. We came low, we kind of hit that range. Fine. Now we are slowly bouncing back up. Now as we bounce back up, yes, we do have resistance. We do have to test these and break through them. Fine, but that doesn't actually mean we are not going back higher. So if you are on a macro level, we already discussed this, we are trending higher and we do have to break this moving average. But if you are looking at the MACD, RSI and the price, the chances of the price coming to test this moving average and breaking through that is high. But you still have an overhead resistance here, which needs to be broken. Now, if you are going to look at the Bitcoin dominance to see whether the altcoins are going to run higher, it kind of gives you that positive narrative like Bitcoin dominance is dropping. Now, we've been doing this for some time. We come all the way back down to 38.8 and test this a couple of times. Now, we even went to 36, but it was a long way. We happened to go back up. Now, what we really want to see is the price doing this consolidation and then breaking to the downside. So as it breaks to the downside, that is when the altcoins get a lot of room to run higher. And at that point of time, you're going to see a lot of big bubbles in this one. Now, that means when you are in the altcoin space, looking at the volume, you will see a lot of small nano micro caps bursting. Fine. But the level of risk there will also be high unless you know that project is fundamentally sound. So if you do, then you're like, okay, fine, I do understand that this one is slowly going back up and you do see the fundamentals for that particular project. Now, using this, look at that project, look at the price action, and if you see like it's already breaking higher and just retesting, you can think about having a buy position there. Now, if not, you need to first go look at the short-term variations of Ether. Now, you are continuing that upside momentum. You came back to test the moving average. But at this point, what we are looking at is still a divergence which you have to break through. So unless you do that, price may still slow down. At what point, no one knows. But the RSI is suggesting that unless you do this, you may get a correction soon. But that's on a daily. To override that, what we have to look at is a higher time frame. So either 3-day chart or a weekly chart or a monthly chart. It depends on what type of trader you are, what your time horizon is. And if your horizon is longer, now that's a good news, meaning you can take all this noise in the market and just stay out of it without engaging in. Unless, the market is like an auction land, right? You bought something for, say, 1,700. Someone is going to try and offer you 1,400. Unless you really want to sell that to have the liquidity, you don't have to. If someone else is offering 2,000 and you are like, okay, that's a decent profit, you can take it. That's what the price means. You don't have to respond if the price is not where it is. Imagine you are selling your house and you have an expectation, say 1.5 million or 1 million, and give or take 10-15% you are ready for the negotiations, but not 30-40%, right? That is what's happening with most of the assets right now. So if you're a buyer, you are trying to persuade, but as a seller, meaning you already have the asset and you are looking for an exit point to sell that asset, you really don't want to take these offers. If you are in this asset, say trading, your resistance is somewhere here, 2,500, even 2,350 would be a decent area. Fine. Now, that means Ether from here have room to run up all the way close to 30-40%. Now, last time, if you remember, I told when Ether bounces 30-40%, all coins are going to run. And that's what you are observing right now on a monthly, right? You go on a monthly and you see like a lot of coins are up 50%, 100-200%. But say an average of 45%, 40% is what we actually got. Now, why? Because Ether went up this much and the altcoin space as a whole did that run. Now, as we are looking at the general stock market, the general markets, and how this is reacting, you do have to take this into account, saying like, okay, in 5 days' time, we are now waiting for the next inflation announcement. So if the price is close to this resistance and the inflations come out even higher than the last one, the market may take a hit, it may come back down. But at that point, what you are looking at is coming back to test this moving average, not all the way lower. But yes, if the moving average doesn't hold, then yeah, you may go much lower. But that is not the whole scenario which you are looking at, right? You have different stocks like the giants, which are slowly bouncing back up. They do have level of resistance to test. They are nearing that point, but they did not actually break higher. Now, for these assets, in terms of stocks as a company, assets, what you are looking at is whether their economical stance is increasing. Meaning, if I'm looking at these companies, they are laying off, fine. So they are trying to restructure to have more cash balance and to be going properly through this bear market, which is what they are anticipating. So in the economy, when Fed is tightening, you do have that difference. Now, if you are looking at the other side, which is gold, which should have been performing well, it did not. If you are looking at this point, you got the idea of supply increase, which is like, in an African country, I think it's in Uganda, where they actually found 100% of new supply, which is massively bad considering the long-term price action. But the regulations does matter. How much time it takes to actually take what percentage of the total volume to the market, and all will matter. So if you are saying that this asset is going down, no, most still consider that as a safe haven. But the other thing which we are looking at is the dollar. So if you are looking at dollar, now what you have to understand is when the interest rates goes higher, the currency gets stronger. So right now, as we talked about, the currency is getting stronger. Now the anticipation of higher interest rates and strengthening dollar will be with the next inflation. So if the inflation is higher, it's bad for the majority of the people. But markets will anticipate like, okay, Fed is going to do another 75 or 50 or even 100 if the inflation is too high. They will take that argument saying like, okay, the job market is still strong, economy is still strong, but we don't actually see that strong economy everywhere. People are being laid off, their cost of living is increasing, they're cutting back on expenses. That's not a strong economy. We understand that. But, those academics in Fed don't. And that kind of creates an opportunity for you, me, and others who do understand that there is a huge opportunity coming. And now I'm actually taking you back to that altcoin chart, which you really need to keep as an imprint in your mind, because this is that opportunity which you really need to change your life. Now, it does seem like too good to be true, but those who have been here made it. And even those who entered here got that chance to change their life. So if you are right now new in the market, yes, you are looking at last 1 year of correction, 1.5 year of correction, a lot of pain in the market. But whenever that happens, followed by comes a time of harvest. But unless you go through that, now it's not like you plant a tree and you literally take it out every day to see the roots. It doesn't work that way. You need to do what it takes. It has to grow. The time needs to be taken. That's the law of nature. So if you are in this asset class, understand this is human beings with the money. So psychology is high, emotions are high. Unless you don't want to take profit, you can move out. But if you are looking to take money in this market and make money, you need a lot more patience. So that's why one of the main things is to understand what the market is showing you. Because when the market actually shows you stuff like this, you need to understand that's an opportunity. Like if you're just going back to that whole chart and looking at it on a daily or weekly, depending upon your horizon, and you're see like, okay, the price was here, there was a breakout possibility because the volume was substantially higher, and RSI was showing you. Now that was a breakout range. Now definitely it's going to come back, retest this broken range, and then bounce higher. Now, why am I saying then bounce higher? Because I'm looking at the weekly, there's a huge shift in momentum where the MACD is crossing to the upside. RSI is kind of, turning that level of bullish. where you can actually say like, okay, the price is slowly breaking back higher, which is a bullish news if you are in this asset, right? So now if you are following this in technical scenario, you know where your resistance is, you know where to take profits. And if you don't, that's what we actually do in our Patreon. So if you are looking to get those information for all these breakouts and the trades which we are running right now, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. And don't forget this. Next 2-3 months is going to be that area where central banks will have that pivot based on the interest rates right now, but it will change to the recession. The focus will completely shift on recession, and that's when you see central banks slowing down or even stopping hiking the interest rates, and the market start to bounce back up. So if you are in the market, you need to understand the macro and small structure in price action so you can take benefit of that. So guys, if you like this video, please do hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you're new here, please do consider subscribing. That supports the channel a lot. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.